Good evening, everyone. I want to welcome everyone to the Brawley City Council meeting and successor agency to the Brawley Community Redevelopment Agency regular meeting agenda here Tuesday, February 19th at 6 p.m. And this meeting's called to order. Could we get a roll call, please?
The minutes will reflect all council members present.
Very good. And we'll stand for the invocation. We have Deacon Don Spinney from Sacred Heart Church.
Let us pray. Lord our God, look with love on the people of this community and keep them safe in your service. Guide the members of this council and help them to work together for the good of Brawley. Bless their plans and deliberations and bring them to success, blessing them for the good they do. Father, we ask this grace through Christ our Lord. Amen.
Amen. Amen. We'll face the flag, and Councilmember Couchman, if you can lead us in the pledge.
Okay. Ready? Begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Deacon Don, for coming out this evening, and good to see you in a while. And thank you, Sam.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Prior to the approval of the agenda, I believe our city manager, we might have an addition.
It is staff's request to add an item as an emergency item that arose following the posting of the agenda on Friday. It is a closed session topic that has to do with real estate negotiations and the subject property of Fire Station 1 and Fire Station 2 in the city of Brawley.
Very good. So thank you. So with that, as part of the agenda, do we have an approval of the agenda?
So moved.
I'll second that.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? None opposed. Agenda is approved. We'll move on to item 2. That'll be our public appearances and comments. This is not to exceed 4 minutes. This is a time for the public to address the council on any items that are not appearing on the agenda, and that is within the subject matter jurisdiction of the city council. The mayor will recognize you when you come to the microphone. Please state your name for the record. You are not allowed to make personal attacks on individuals or make comments which are slanderous or which may invade a individual's personal privacy. So please direct your questions and comments to the City Council. I'd like to start with that and open it up. Are there any members of the public that just would like to take advantage and make any public comment? Okay. Seeing none, we're still, we'll move on to the next item, and if someone does, just let me know, because we'll move on to our item 3, which are special presentations, which is always one of the best parts of this agenda. And we're going to start with 3A, which is the presentation of Certificate of Recognition to the Brawley Union High School Academic Decathlon Team. So I think there might be some folks here, as well as some of the students. And what I'd like to be able to do, maybe prior to that, I think about maybe the opportunity, before we present certificates, we do have a recognition, as we want to express how proud we are. But I do want to maybe give the opportunity for our council to make some comments here, and then we can proceed maybe with the certificates. So,
if I can add some comments there. Thank you first and foremost for being out here and for including the item on the agenda. I did want to recognize the academic decathlon team and the coaches, Jose Luis Barrera and Danny Hernandez. Let's give them a big round of applause because they've worked really hard to make this team successful, and of course the team members. But you know, my son is on the team, and I wanted to recognize him and his fellow team members and his coaches, his instructors, for the work that they've done. And I'm very proud of my son George and the entire team. George wasn't always the best academically, and he's really turned it around over the past 2 years. In fact, he recently got accepted to a university, so I'm very proud of him, and I'm happy to be able to recognize him here today along with my fellow council members. And I hope this serves as some inspiration for all of you that you know, a little hard work pays off, and you have great instructors that are leading the way. So first, just thank you all very much for being here, and for the parents for supporting their kids. And I know that my son and his team have spent some time at my home they said they were studying. I don't know what they were doing, but they said they were studying. So I hope, that had some involvement in their success. So again, congratulations, and those are my comments.
Very good.
I'll just say congratulations. Academics are a good thing. I tried to do well in school and didn't always work out, but sometimes you get through those phases and you get to a place where you're doing better, and eventually you wind up on city council. So that should be a warning to all of you. But congratulations.
Very good.
Congratulations to the team. I see many of the young people around our community and at the schools when I visit, and they're all doing well. I saw one young man there, I think was in the IBR, actually the Rotary four-way speech contest the other day. So I see him out there. So they're out there in the community, they're involved. It's not just simply academics. They're a well-rounded group, and I think they do very well. And I congratulations to all of them, and especially to their parents and to their instructors at the high school. I think they do really, really a good job. Thank you.
I too would just like to congratulate. It makes us really proud. I like to use the term Brawley proud when I see this on our Facebook. And Brawley has done really well, as you know, in sports. But this is the first time that I've seen the academic achievement that you've reached. So that makes all of us in the community and our council very proud of all of you, and continued success to all of you. Congratulations.
And I'll further throw in, if I don't want to get this wrong, but our team, this academic team, went and they won this competition that was valley-wide, correct? So I want to make sure the public understands that some of these students that we're going to recognize, and I hope all of you are here this evening, that the role that you not only played in this, but I understand that the preparation is pretty intense, and I understand the competition is equally intense. So it's quite an accomplishment, very proud of that, and certainly not just as mayor, but as a citizen. It's always wonderful when you bring home that kind of recognition to our city. So I want each one of you to know, and your family, your parents to know how proud we are as a city for what you guys accomplished. So with that said, what I'd like to do is, if we could, we'll move down here. We've got these certificates. I want to make sure that each student, we'll call you up. And we'll kind of line up down here. We'll do that as a council, and once we're all up here, we'll get a team city photo. How does that sound?
That's good.
So we'll head on down. Councilmember Nava, if you can help me a little bit with this, we'll kind of.
Want me to take a picture?
Would you like to call it out?
No, go for it.
Okay. I'm going to put it just like this. So we'll start with, first on the list, we'll have John West. Come on up. You got to come through. Watch what you're doing. So shake everyone's hand.
Very proud of you.
And then we take a spot here, and then we'll reform. Next on the list will be Laura Sarian. And Laura, I want to make sure I said that right. Okay.
She's like, I pronounce it differently.
She learned etiquette. All right. And then we have Brendan Yerde. Brendan has a connection with the city as well.
Yes.
His father's in the audience?
Yes.
His mother.
Big employee. Congratulations.
Congratulations. Cynthia Lazama. She's not here. Okay.
Let's give her a round of applause.
Oh, yes. Peter Sanchez. Javier Soto.
Looking good.
He was waiting in the hall.
Great timing.
I'm going to do it. Yeah. He wanted theme music to come in.
Cecilia Gentile. Josu Sanchez?
Josue?
I'm sorry. Anywhere you start.
Congratulations.
Love it.
On the basketball team.
Yeah, I know, right?
Now, this one I have, George Nava.
It's growing up.
Congratulations.
Antonio Reynosa. Alexia Jones. And we have the coaches. So coaches, Mr. Barrera.
Jose Luis Barrera.
And Coach Danny Hernandez.
Congratulations. Good job.
Good job.
Love it. Nice to see.
There you go.
I still got to throw in, I think our coaches don't look that old per se, but I know my kids were in their class. So, I mean, it's been many generations. So, team, if we can, maybe we come over here.
Maybe the coaches
We'll kind
have a
of.
word to say or anything?
Sure, absolutely. Yeah, while we're up here, but I'll get the rest of the team in.
Yeah, let's get everybody in here, come on. Crowd in here, Everybody.
We'll kind of crunch in.
These guys are so tall.
Look
So, coaches, any comments you'd like to share?
Yes, Brawley Union High School decided to revamp the academic decathlon 4 years ago, and it was a vision from Mr. Canales and Daniel Hernandez. And he told me, hey, you want to jump in and be part of the academic decathlon? And we've been doing this for the past 4 years, and it's been great. Last year we also got first place, and this is the second year that we get it.
Wow.
We're going to go to Sacramento from March 20th to the 24th, where we go compete for state. So
Fantastic. Well, thank you very much. Everybody get in here, squeeze in. All right, big smiles. All right. One more. Let me recreate my smile.
Got it.
All right. Well, congratulations, everybody. I'm glad you were able to make it out here. And you recognize, hey, he did. You had the best interest. Yeah. And we won't force you to stick around, but, nice to have you on. Georgie.
That was very
Okay.
nice. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
I thought it was the first time. Alma?
Yeah, we do. We can, yeah. Lapel pin?
Lapel pins, do we have them? Let me get them.
Do that,
Give me
Alma?
one
That'd be
minute.
great. Yeah.
Okay.
We're not just sports here, see?
It's, I was so
That's
happy
right.
because I know, I mean, we got good wrestlers, good football players, good
We
basketball
should
players.
be able to hang
And
some
now
kind of
we have good
the
academics,
banner
too.
back to back, so that's. We're working on some city lapel pins also, so as they're on their way out.
Oh,
So
okay.
thank you, everyone, for your patience, and we'll move on to the next presentation that'll be coming up. So just give us just 30 more seconds.
I'm going to bring up the presentation. We've got a PowerPoint for
We
this
do?
next one.
Okay.
Yes.
Kind of cue that up. So I think what we could do is maybe we'll kind of get motor in, and I think we'll have Councilmember Nago just pop back in
Okay.
along with Alma. I mean, if
We can go ahead, yeah.
you want to win.
I think he's getting done.
I can hear, yeah.
I think he's coming. Maybe.
No, I just wondered if he went by junior. Oh.
Goes by Georgie.
Thank you for your patience.
calls him
That was
Georgie,
nice.
yeah.
They appreciate it.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
No, it's good.
Great.
They
Thank
really
you.
did. That's
Yeah.
nice.
Okay.
We need to recognize, academics, and we need to recognize students when they're doing well. I think there's so many things to talk about in Brawley that are positive. That's one of them. So thank you again for.
And we've had wrestling, we've had baseball, we've had a lot of sports, so it's great to have those students in there for what they did. So, very good. We'll go to our next special presentation, item 3B, which will be a presentation by Dominic Forenza, which is the Boy Scout Eagle Project to repair and replace fence at the Imperial Valley Conservation Research Center. And we are in uniform, which is fantastic.
Nice.
And hopefully we're queued up with the presentation. The floor is yours.
Thank you. Good evening, Mayor Don Wharton and council members. My name is Don Forenza, as you probably already know. I'm in 11th grade at Calpatriot High School, but I'm a Life Scout in Troop 4070 in Imperial. I'm going to be working on my Eagle project. I want to briefly inform everybody here about what it's going to do for the city of Brawley and all of the Imperial Valley. I was hoping this would also help spread credibility. So what it's going to be is going to repair and replace the fencing in front of the Imperial Valley Conservation Research Center. The IVCRC, as most people know, it's located along south of Brawley, along Highway 86. The fence condition is deteriorated and sections of it are missing. I don't believe that reflects the community well. It's going to improve the appearance of the IVCRC and the city of Brawley, and also add security and channel visitors through the main gate. The IVCRC is a nonprofit organization that improves methods of agriculture, irrigation, and water conservation in our valley through research and education. I will repair and replace about 3,000 feet worth of wood posts and barbed wire fencing. I plan to have the main entrance gate also replaced with a nicer fencing than the damaged pipe gate that there is now. And hope to get a small portion of a nicer looking fence starting to the northeast to a better fit for the urban Brawley area near Pioneers Hospital. And right now I'm working on getting the permits and permitting done, which will allow the fencing and work to be started, get everything out of the way. The cost estimate for all the materials, tools, and supplies for the first 3,000 feet of barbed wire and fencing is about $5,500. And the main entrance gate, along with the enhanced gate, will add a lot more to the costs. I've been trying to get support from different agricultural businesses, along with local companies. I've sent letters out to them, hoping to get some donations. Some of them are Brawley Elks and the Brawley Rotary Club. I'm also asking IID and the county for any support that they may be able to offer. And I'm hoping that the city may be able to help. And by getting word out in the public, it'll again establish some credit for me and for this project, and be able to help the community, or be able to that some will be willing to help our community in the fence project. In summary, I just wanted to let everybody know about the project. It's important for our community and me, and I'm hoping that Brawley will be able to provide some support, and that there'll be some supporters out in the public. And that's it. Are there any questions about anything about this?
I'll open it up to questions, and certainly, as I do that, you did a very good job too. And I'm assuming you put this presentation together. Yeah. So very well done. But open it up to council for any questions.
Dominic, thanks for coming and talking.
Thank you.
My question is, do you have an idea, a projection for how long you'll be working on this project?
We plan to start the physical work early March and ending it close to around May, between those two areas.
How many other scouts are going to be working on this project with you?
I plan to get a lot of support from my own troop, but also some of the other troops. So each work day, we plan to have somewhere between 20 and 30 people helping out.
Nice.
And it's not just the troops, but also different clubs in the community, such as 4-H.
Mm-hmm. Great. Will you be digging post holes and then pouring concrete around posts?
For the most part, there'll either be just soil or granite packed.
Okay.
But about every 10 to 15 poles, we're going to have cemented.
Okay. Cool. Good. Thank you.
Very good. Any other questions?
Dominic came to the IID, and he was at the IID meeting, and I happened to be there that day. And I know he was planning to come to the city of Brawley, but I invited him to come to the city of Brawley. I think we can give him some support on this project. I think it's a neat project for that area coming into Brawley. We're always trying to beautify things, and I think it's a good project for him as a scout. And so I'm hoping that Brawley, we can come together here on the council and maybe give him a little bit of support for that, and also get the word out in the community of what he's working on, and hopefully get him some extra support from that. And I think it's a worthwhile project. The district bought into it pretty much, and I think several of the district members donated some funds at that time, and so I think we can do maybe the same, hopefully. And I think he did a great presentation, which he always does, and so Calipatria should be proud, and I'm happy that that's good too.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
And I think we can help him in a couple other areas too. He may have some questions about permitting and stuff like that, so I know we'll get involved probably in this.
Did you have like a monetary suggestion, or?
I think it's whatever we feel is appropriate. I think we could draw some money out of our account, that we normally do for that, or on a personal level, we could also provide some funding. I think that's up to the individual council members, but I think as a whole, I'd like to see us make some type of donation, maybe out of our council funds that we do. We buy sponsorships to different things, we buy tickets to different things. I think we could probably do the same here. And I don't really have any figure in mind. It's just whatever the council would maybe like to do.
With something along the lines, and Dominic, where are you at financially so far? Is it still early in the process, or do you have some funds raised?
So far, we have about $2,000 worth that we've done fundraising so far. So we're hoping to
about
continue that.
3,500 to go, something like that. 55 is what you were expecting, but I mean, maybe if there's something like 100 per council member, like $500 or
That
something.
would probably be something.
consider.
That was what I kind of had in
Would we
mind.
need to put something on the agenda for action, or, I mean, it is outside the city limits, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's outside city limits, but I don't know what.
Well, you can say
It's
it's
a
for public
nonprofit.
purpose. It's,
Yeah.
Okay.
And it's from our budgeted account.
Our budgeted account.
Should we have an action on that, or should we just direct staff?
No, we can just direct staff.
All right,
Okay.
that would be fine.
Each council
Thank you.
member,
That's
would that be
fine.
amenable?
So that would be
How much-
$500 from the city of Raleigh.
Yeah.
Thank you.
From the city, and then
Okay.
individually, if we want to do something,
Individually,
we can
we
do
did
that.
If we all agree to that, I mean, I do.
I
So-
agree.
Yeah,
sounds good to me.
I totally agree. I think it's a very nice gesture, and we're real happy that it's in Brawley. And because it is an area where we see it constantly going in and out of Brawley, so I personally, we really appreciate that. I looked through all your PowerPoint presentation, and I was impressed. Thank you very much.
The gate will be
Thank you.
nice for that entryway too.
Yes,
Good
it
job.
will.
No, I mean, and I'll ask also, just make sure that our city clerk, we know how to reach you, so that not only arrangements, but also if someone wants to, add to that or something, they'll know how to reach you, so.
Well,
So
Mr.
we
Mayor,
agreed to the
Dominic's number's in my
100.
phone because he's one of my black belts.
No,
Oh,
there you
is
go.
he?
There you
Okay.
go.
No problem.
Give them more
Say,
money than
man,
that.
There you go.
multi-talented, there you go.
So we could just
Fantastic.
get it on record, so that we agreed to $100 from each council member?
So 500 total.
Yeah.
Okay, all right,
All right,
very good.
very good, thank you,
Good job.
Dominic.
Good job.
Appreciate it,
Thank
thank you.
Thank you.
Next item will be special presentation, item C, introduction of newly promoted Assistant Chief Operator of the City of Brawley Water Treatment Plant, Ricardo Arguelles, and the Literacy and Mobile Books Services, our LAMS Coordinator, Karen Terrell.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, council members. Andy Bermontes with Public Works. So we got Ricardo Arguelles. He's been with the city for a while. Gonna go over some of his, academic and career here with the city. So he graduated from Brawley Union High School in 2004. Brawley native. So in 2017. He obtained his associate's degree in water treatment technology and wastewater treatment specialization. He's currently pursuing a business administration associate's degree. He started working for the City of Brawley wastewater treatment plant as a volunteer operator in training in November of 2012 and was hired as a part-time in April of 2013. And Ricardo obtained a full-time position as a lab analyst 1 in September 2014. And in March of 2015, Ricardo started his position at the water treatment plant as a plant operator level 3. So now he's been promoted assistant chief operator. And some of the certificates I'd like to highlight is he has a water treatment plant operator number 4, and that's out of 5, so it's really, really up there. And he's just recently passed his wastewater treatment 5, which is the max. So it's an inspiration to the rest of the city staff and the community. He's a Brawley native and someone that a lot of people can look up to, and still very young. So he's 1 year older than me, but I want to say congrats, Ricardo.
I want to thank the city of Brawley for this great opportunity, and I want to commit to follow out the guidelines and to continue with the good operations of the water treatment plant and enhance the treatment and assist with any of my knowledge that I can.
Fantastic.
Very good. Ricardo, congratulations. Yeah, it's just, hearing your background and usually with us, when, graduated BUHS, we usually stop there. We're good, But to hear all that you have done and actually to begin as a volunteer once again and to achieve what you've achieved, starting, tonight, obviously, with this announcement is just, it should definitely be an inspiration. So congratulations. And I don't know if my fellow council members have any comments, but we want to make sure you know that.
Yeah, congratulations, Ricardo, and thank you for what you do, and thank you for continuing to better yourself and educate yourself so that you can rise through the ranks and keep us operational. It's very important in this city.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, congratulations. And without you guys out there, we wouldn't be successful here in the city of Brawley in terms of doing the things that we do. And certainly wastewater and water is very, very important. People don't always, identify with that, but we do understand that it is an extremely important job. And you've got some good credentials. A Brawley Union High School graduate, we always look with great pride in that, and certainly a Brawley resident. And so we appreciate all that you do for us, okay? Thanks. Good luck in the new position. Thank you.
Mayor Wharton, may I make one brief comment about the rising star of Mr. Arguelles? Because really, truly, certifications in this world are hard to come by. And it's so encouraging to see when there's drive and ambition in our workforce and a willingness to focus on the studies that are necessary to achieve important milestones. It wasn't very long ago that we really were having some great struggles with the certification achievement in a number of areas, and I'm hopeful that people like Mr. Arguelles are really part of the succession planning for the city, and some really great prospects for our future as an agency in an area where water and wastewater technology certifications are in demand across the state of California. I mean, they're really very, very precious resources to us and are important to the fundamental operations of our plants. And Mr. Arguelles is literally on the pathway to be very similar to Ruben Mireles with being the person with that crossover talent between two areas of often distinct specialties. So I didn't want this moment to pass without making sure that everybody kind of paused to note how remarkable the achievement is.
It really is. And no, certainly it's a rare achievement, and it's an important one. So congratulations to you, Ricardo. I look forward to working with you and staff. Little potty humor here, but you know your stuff, right? So, so that's good stuff. And Councilmember Couchman and myself will be out at the wastewater treatment facility here soon. We're going to shoot a little video and present that to Rotary, or at least I'm going to present it to Rotary. But certainly pick your brain out there, and you can take us through the system. I've been there many times before, and we can walk through the water treatment facility. But congratulations to you. I think it's a huge achievement, and I'm glad that you recognize that, Rosanna, because I think sometimes staff comes before us and we don't have a full picture of a background. But seeing the work that you've done, not just from high school, but all the certifications, those are things that are hard to achieve. And it's great for me. It's really important to see people succeed and advance themselves. I admire that. You know, it goes back to a story with my father. I won't get into that, but even myself, I always say to people, I'm like, you know, college isn't for everybody, but education is, right? And that is part of educating yourself with licensing and other things that advance your life, advance your family's life, and it makes, you know, life a more fulfilled life, you know? So thank you for what you do for the city. I appreciate it. I know everybody else does as well. And, you know, it's I think it's a thankless job, too. People, you know, when they use the facilities or, you know, taking a shower, they don't know what's happening with the wastewater, but, you know, you have to deal with that every day, and it's a sophisticated process. So congratulations on that. I certainly recognize your talent, and I appreciate it very much. Thank you, and congratulations to you.
Very good. Thank you. Thank you, Councilmember Nava.
I just would like to kind of echo some of what Rosanna said and George said. I'm glad that Rosanna told us everything about the water treatment and how important it is and about reaching all those milestones. And I always like to see growth within our department and the upward mobility. So it's really great when we see somebody start like you did and has accomplished everything that you've accomplished so far. So we're looking forward to you keep going even further. Level 5, is that what it is? So really, really happy to hear that our employees, and you happen to have graduated the same year my daughter did, so I'll have to tell her and share with her in 2004, right?
Yes.
Right. So just again, congratulations. And one thing that I was going to add is that before I got on the council, I'm like most people probably don't realize what the water treatment staff do or the other water plant. I think we just take it for granted, you know. And now that I've done the tour of both, I really don't take it for granted anymore, and I know not exactly what you do, but I know a lot about what you do. So I'm really proud of you. Congratulations.
Very good. Very good. Thank you, Ricardo. Yeah. Our LAMS coordinator.
Thank you again.
Marjo Mello, Library Director tonight. And I just want to say that I just went to the 100th anniversary of the Carnegie Library in Calexico. And it's an absolutely stunning building, and it's really nice to see another community that supports and uses all of the resources that are available there. So I just want to add that because I had a really fun time, other than being cold. Anyway, we're here to celebrate Karen Turan, who I think spent her second day today with children, right? Yeah. So she's getting initiated, and she hasn't run yet. So we're really proud of her. Karen has a bachelor's in psychology, correct? In psychology. We discovered her, or were recommended about some of her great qualities from the Public Works Department because she did some great projects over there. And Guillermo Cia said, "Is it okay if I recommend her?" And I said, "Heck yeah." So that was one really good recommendation. She's worked with kids for several years in the ACES program and as a tutor. So she's actually probably not going to be thrown for a loop by things that kids can say. She's working with a little younger crowd, but I think she's going to do a great job. And just want to present Karen Turan.
Super.
Thank you. And I just wanted to thank Marjo for giving me this opportunity, as well as to the city of Brawley. I'm really excited. And yes, I have worked with kids before, and I've been an ACES lead tutor for the past year and a half. And you know, it's ages from 1st grade through 6th grade, but now I'm excited to work with the younger kids, just to see how, get more experience in that sense. But thank you guys. Thank you so much.
Super.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Congratulations. And she's been pinch hitting too around the administrative office. Yeah, so
yes,
that's good.
If I may.
Yeah.
I did see
Yes,
her.
yeah, go ahead.
I would just like to say that it's all important to the city of Brawley. The literacy, the mobile books, the water treatment, the wastewater treatment, it's all very, very important to all of us. My mother always thought that books and reading were one of the most important things that a young person could do. And as far as furthering their education, even if they didn't go to school or to college or anything else, if they read extensively, they improve their knowledge. And I think that's always important. So we see the value in the library, in the LAMS, in the water treatment, in the roads, and everything that we do here. And without all of that working together, the city of Brawley wouldn't be successful as we are. And so I think it's very, very important. We welcome you to the Brawley family.
Very good. Well said. Thank you, Councilmember. Anyone else? Any other council members? No.
Just congratulations on the achievement, and I wish you very well. And I know that my fellow council members wants you to be successful and bring your talents to the city, and we can all be successful together. So congratulations to you.
Super, super. Thank you. All right. Very good. And before we depart the public appearance and comments section, just want to make sure no one showed up late with any public comments. Seeing none, we'll move on to our next item on the agenda, which is the consent agenda. These items are approved in one motion. Council members or members of the public may request consent items to be considered separately at a time determined by the mayor. We have a motion to approve the consent agenda.
So moved.
A motion?
I'll second.
A motion and a second. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? No abstentions? Moving on to item 5, which will bring us to regular business. Item 5A is a scheduled public hearing for the submittal of the State Community Development Block Grant, CDBG, application, which obviously is going to occur at this time right now after the 6 p.m. First item will be actually opening up the public hearing, and as we're doing that, I just want to make sure there isn't anything procedurally. Okay, so this public hearing is now open. Any members of the public that would like to come forward?
And we do have a brief presentation to introduce this item from our Development Services Director. And I also want to note for council's benefit that we do have Chris Westlake here in the audience. Mr. Westlake has been assisting us with the application process and has been serving as an incredible resource to a number of local valley jurisdictions, given his prior work experience with HCD.
Fantastic. All right, Gordon.
Thank you. Honorable Mayor, council members, Gordon Gast, Development Services Director. This is a procedure we go through every time we apply for new grants. It's the notice of funding availability. We have to do resolutions and give some details how we're going to spend the money in the future. Like I said, it requires a public hearing. We had a sign-in sheet. We got some people to sign up to say that people are interested. Like I said, we have a consultant that's been helping a little bit with any deficiencies that we had since we have, had Francisco retire. And I'm kind of new to this, but I've been learning a lot. And if you have any detailed questions about it, he is here. Mr. Chris Westlake is here to answer any questions about this, or actually the next item also, which is related to our current grant.
Right,
housing rehabilitation.
Obviously, we're still in the public hearing portion, but just looking ahead on, obviously in the agenda, we'll have some actions after we close the public hearing.
Correct.
So, Gordon, unless there's anything else, maybe specific to the hearing portion, I want to make sure if anyone wants to come forward, they'll have that opportunity before we close. Seeing none. Okay. Seeing none, we'll go ahead and move to the item 2, which will be, we are going to close the public hearing. Which will take us to the next item with Gordon here. Item 3, discussion and potential action to adopt City Council Resolution Number 2019-, Resolution of the City Council of the City of Brawley, California, approving an application for the funding and the execution of a grant agreement and any amendments thereto from the 2018 funding year for the State of California CDBG program.
Right, this is the resolution on page 49. This is shows how the money will be broken down into the administrative costs and the actual, I'm sorry, I'm on the wrong one here. Yeah. I think that page didn't come out here.
Oops. It's 49, mine says 49.
147.
You are correct, Gordon. Page
No, it is,
49.
yeah, it is, yeah,
Yes,
correct.
49.
So, yeah, it just shows the breakdown of the money as proposed for this upcoming grant.
Okay, so with that, while Gordon's here, I'll open up to council on this particular item. Is there any questions, comments, discussion? None? Seeing none, I think there's plenty of backup material on the topic. Then we'll move. So I could just take one item at a time, right? So what I'll do is, for this particular item, we'll go ahead and call for the question. Do we have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor, say aye.
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 Any opposed? None opposed, no abstentions. take us to the next item, which will be item 4, discussion and potential action to adopt City Council Resolution Number 2019, resolution of the City Council of the City of Brawley, California, adopting the revised City of Brawley CDBG Housing Rehabilitation Program and Home Buyer Guidelines.
Right, and this resolution is just, this is standard to conform with the procedures of HCD. Some things change every once in a while, so there were some minor changes made. However, it's standard procedure and what we have to actually implement the funding in the future.
Super. Okay. Open up to council. Any questions, comments? Seeing none. Go ahead and call for the question. Do we have a motion to approve?
So moved.
We have a motion.
I'll second.
We have a second. All those in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? None. No abstentions. I'm approved. Very good. Thank you, Gordon. We'll move to the next item, 5B, discussion and potential action to approve loan number H10897-447, funded by 15Home-10897 in the amount of $146,850, and award a contract to Raul Garcia Construction backup items, backup material on pages 149 through 150.
Right, this is a home loan from our current grant, which we're using for rehab. We've done several of these. This is to draw down our balance that we have left over. Everything's clear. We actually got a HCD approval yesterday or today. Everything's good to go. We just need the resolution from the city, and we can start getting the money on this immediately.
Okay, very good, and I think the council fact sheet, and that breaks everything down, is obviously presented pretty clearly there. I'll open up to council for any questions, comments, or discussion.
Gordon, the way this works, the city loans the money out through the grant, and then when the loan is repaid, it goes back to the state, or where does that money go back into?
Well, the state gives us the money, then we recoup that money. Right.
And Mr. Hamby, it might be helpful, some of the terminology that we refer to before council is when loans are paid back, they create program income. And then the uses of what those program income are permitted for eligible activities, that governs how those funds are then used for their second purpose, whatever it may be. But so the grant the portion that is a grant, there's a portion that's deferred that isn't paid back, and there's the bulk of the money is returned in very favorable terms because the loan is intended to address the housing needs of low to very low, low to moderate, low to very low income households.
Right. So it's a rehabilitation project, so they went out to bid and they're rehabbing the property.
Right.
And so somebody qualified for it. A long while back, we used to get the information, I think, on the borrower, but I don't know.
I did circulate it. It isn't the borrower profile is not public information, so I did disseminate under separate cover photos of the subject property as well as the borrower profile.
Yeah, we usually don't put that.
So how much money would we get back as far as for program income?
Eventually, we recoup the bulk of the amount.
Okay.
So in this instance, if I'm not mistaken, the 14.5 is the non-recoverable, but the larger sum of 132,332 is something that is eventually paid back. And we have many of these loans in the queue, and you might recall that that's how our program income balances become enlarged, because the city's been operating this a program like this regarding either first-time home buyers, owner-occupied housing rehab. There's a number of areas of activity, and when those loans are paid back, whether the property sells, a party transfers it and the loan doesn't carry with it, instead the city's paid off, those are the instances in which the city's a recipient.
Yeah, so the city's kind of allowed to recycle the money for future use.
Very good. Any other questions? clarification. Thank you, Gordon. Thank you, Rosanna, for that. So we'll move forward here. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay. Any opposed? Seeing none.
There was a motion in a second, right?
No.
Oh, there wasn't.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
Not on this one?
That was a practice, so it sounds
I'll
good, like
move-
a vote, so
I'll
we'll
move
do
that
it
we
again.
approve, I'll make a motion to approve the loan to be funded by the 15-home 10897 award contract to Raul Garcia Construction in the amount of $146,850.
Very good. There's the motion. Do we have a second? From a second, we'll vote again, just to do it, and to get it in the right order. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Seeing none, no abstentions. Thank you very much. We will move to item 5C, which is the discussion of potential action to approve the insurance waiver for the mobile consulate services at the Brawley, Maine Branch Library on February 23rd, 2019, from 9 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. at the request of the Mexican consulate. Backup material on pages 151 to 153. Marjo Mello.
We're looking forward to having the consulate. The first time they came was at the Del Rio branch, and although it was successful, a comment was made that it was a little hard to find. So they had one last fall at the library, and it was extremely successful. And we're looking forward to Saturday again to have another successful visit. They schedule appointments, and people are able to get any services that they normally would be able to get at the consulate in Calexico. So people can get copies of birth certificates, marriage certificates, death certificates, et cetera, and get some other help with different issues that people may have. And just from observation and chatting with people, it is a lot of North End people who come, and they even have a few from out of the county that come because it's open on a Saturday. So that's the event.
Super. Any questions? Open it up to council.
I have a question about this, and I think I brought this up before, or maybe even in just face-to-face conversations, but in other typical events where someone uses a city facility and they have to purchase a, what do you call it, a pass-through policy?
Okay, so anyone who uses a city property has to complete a facilities use form.
Right.
And the guidelines associated with use require all users to provide insurance indemnifying the city in the event that there are any issues encountered. So the exceptions that have been granted to that in the past are, let's say we have the state of California doing an air resource board meeting at, we've hosted them at the Del Rio. Mm-hmm. What we say is this is an entity, a partner agency, or if the school district would be kind of the same thing, where you're looking at other government agencies. Those are really the only times that we have granted exceptions, unless the city's an official co-sponsor. Mm-hmm. And so what has come to the city in prior requests from the consulate is the question of whether there's enough joint shared interest in providing the service to residents who are accessing mobile consulate services, that if it has risen to the level of being a jointly sponsored event. And it's the discretion of the council to determine whether or not you wish to stay consistent with insurance being required. We do, for most insurances that are low risk, we have a product that runs through the JPIA that we can underwrite in-house. Mm-hmm. For complicated activities, let's say it's live music or alcohol, that's something that is subject to much more scrutiny and underwriting requirements. And sometimes we can or can't offer that service depending on what JPIA, how they view the proposed activity.
How many times have we done this for these guys?
I believe this is the third request that's come forward.
And we've done it 3 times before.
This is
the third, twice before.
Right.
I'm sorry, twice before, okay. So we have waived the insurance
Yes,
twice
we have.
before. We have not had any problems with them at this point in time.
Correct.
It's mostly desk work with the people that are coming in. It's mostly where they're coming in with paperwork, and it's not a physical activity or
It's been a
anything of that
combination of outdoor resource tables in the South Plaza Park, so at the entrance, and then the interior, we do assist with configuring the space in a way that there's a lot of computers that are used for the processing, so our IT resource assists with some of establishing some of those services and getting the table set up, eliminating if there are cords or trip hazards. You know, we need to make sure that the area is safe and that we're complying with ADA clearances.
Right. I guess personally, I just feel like if the city is going to be liable, if someone slips and trips and falls, what is the pass-through product is like $100 for?
It depends on the number of people. It's the cost structure is built around what the activity is and how many folks. But in general, the rule of thumb for low risk type of activities under, let's say, 150 people, and I'm just referring to it off the top of my head, is about $110, somewhere between 90 and 110.
It's such a small amount. I would think either the city as co-sponsor would front that money so that we're released of any liability should something happen. I mean, you never need insurance until you need it. And so I guess I would feel more comfortable if either we, as a council donated, $20 a piece out of our fund, or the city just decides to pay the insurance policy.
As the event applicant, I don't know of any instances where the city has undertaken a special event and doubled up with the same insurance company that carries our, I would need to work through JPIA. I don't know what that would look like.
I just consider it more of a benefit to our residents. I mean, it's a public service, so it's, there are, I'm sure a few people that go and use the service, and just like they would, I think, for anything. So there may be.
There's many local residents, in fact, staff has used the services.
Yeah, so I just think that.
Or relatives of staff, too.
It's a very, very minimal risk, and it's a benefit we offer our residents. I don't necessarily consider it something that an outside agency is offering. It's just, we would do it if they were offering county services. This is just a service. It's part of our resident population, so.
And thank you, Councilmember Nava. And furthermore, I think I've chimed in and said this before in your points are made, Councilmember Hamby. I think it's good for us to talk about that. But we have so many events, I think that occur, most of which we do talk about here, but some of which we don't. So I think on the low risk side, remember we have public facilities with folks coming in and out daily. I mean, one of the things we all say, the city never sleeps in a lot of ways. So there's a lot of things that are happening. So I think all things considered is a very good public benefit. That's one of the things I look at and just weigh. There's citizens that certainly live here and some that are outside of here that come here to access those services. If it were not for this, maybe they would have to go, either closer to the border, a different jurisdiction, or maybe down even over international borders. So I just think the benefits clearly outweigh. But
sure, I'm sure it's beneficial.
Yeah.
I just want to make sure that we don't put ourselves in a place of undue liability.
Understood. Yeah. Any other questions, comments? If not, I'll go ahead and do we have a motion to approve the waiver?
I'll make a motion to approve the item.
We have a motion. Do we have a second? We have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? No abstentions. Motion carries. We'll move to the next item. Thank you, Marjorie.
Thank you, Marjorie.
Item 5D will be discussion of potential action to adopt City Council Resolution 2019, resolution of the City Council of the City of Brawley, California, authorizing the submission of the City of Brawley's proposed projects in response to the Imperial County Transportation Commission, ICTC, Congestion Mitigation and Air Quality, CMAQ, 2018. Call for projects for fiscal years 2019, 2020, 2020 and 2021, and 2021 and 2022. Backup material on pages 154 through 159.
A lot of 20s there.
A lot of 20s, yeah. 2020 vision, and I couldn't see it. So.
Our staff engineer, Victor Garcia, has been kind enough to join us this evening in Guillermo's absence. So Victor played a key role in preparing the documents associated with tonight's action item, as well as application materials for the submittal to ICTC.
Very good, thank you.
Okay, basically what this is for the submission we're trying to do. We're trying to submit grant for the extension of Legion from the Highway 86 to Western. So basically continuing that area of that. Again, it's not a sure thing that we'll get it, but we're at least applying for it. So it's it's basically, we're competing with all the cities, so, well, that's what we're working on.
And Victor, if I may note, the benefit of addressing this section of the roadway is that it opens up commercial parcels and doesn't burden commercial parcels with the obligation for improvements. If they were to pull a building permit, they'd have to address that the roadway doesn't exist. So it kind of better positions the Brawley Gateway specific plan area for future commercial development.
And again, this is two priorities. The priority number one is Legion, and the second priority is Western, which is basically from Legion to Wildcat. So we're applying for both, and again, hopefully we'll get some money out of it.
Very good, very good. Thank you, Mr. Garcia. We'll open it up to council for any further questions. Any discussion? Yes.
No, well, the only question that I had, it's a competitive grant, so do we have an idea of when we would know if we're successful?
Basically, and I have the dates here, we should know by April 24th, and that's when ICTC approves the project selection.
Oh, very good.
Hopefully we have some influence there, but
Yeah, hopefully.
I have one question.
Yep.
Is this an all or nothing? In other words, you apply for 1.1 for each project, and either they award all of it or they award none of it?
That's
okay.
They don't allow us to carve up projects to meet the remainder amounts. So some of the art form and the application process is, you've got awareness as a region what the allocation is for the whole, for everybody competing. There are all kinds of ways to approach that. You can attempt a power grab for the entire amount and hope if you get it, great, but the likelihood that only one project would be funded, it depends on the scoring matrix and a number of other features. So our goal was to highlight 2 specific projects that we know have value for Brawley, and they are prioritized. So the number 1 would be promoting the commercial development in that gateway specific plan area, great benefits to be gained. And the other portion would be addressing some incomplete improvements that are at the rear of the Walmart.
Okay.
Very good. Any other questions? No, we'll bring this item up. Do we have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Okay, I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? No abstentions. Motion carries, and we'll move to the next item, related item 5E, discussion of potential action to adopt City Council Resolution 2019, resolution of the City Council of the City of Brawley, California, authorizing the submission of the City of Brawley's proposed projects in response to the Imperial County Transportation Commission Surface Transportation Block Grant 2018, call for projects for fiscal years 2019 through 2020, 2020 through 2021, and 2021 through 2022. And we have Assistant Civil Engineer Victor Garcia here to present.
Basically, this is similar to the CMAQ, which is the previous presentation, item D, but basically for this one, we're trying to apply for several projects. One of them is Legion. Again, Legion's our priority number 1. That would be the extension approximately from Pano to the west, to the city limits. And then, again, this is, we're applying for that, and we have other priorities, like the list that are on the resolution in the packet.
161.
Basically, we have K Street from Highway 86 to 8th Street, K Street as well from Highway 86 to Rio Vista, River Drive, and Pano. So those are the priorities that we have, basically. Again, we're applying for it. It's not a sure thing that we'll get it, but we'll know again by April 24th.
April 24th.
And for council's benefit, on page 158 of the review packet, our engineering division was kind enough to put together a summary of all the funds that we've either secured or 2 of which referenced in tonight's action items are being proposed. And hopefully you'll see some of the projects that have been expressed as high priority for the city. SB1 in particular is programmed for that first leg from Highway 86 to the west of the hospital, right at the Evelyn, actually just short of the hospital's final western entrance. And so our hope is to secure it. It's similar to what we did when we sought funds for Palm Avenue or Eastern Avenue. There are only certain roadways in our city limits that have a high enough usage and are classified appropriately to be a fit for this. And what it permits us to do is to save the local funds, Measure D, LTA funds for the streets that can't compete, and instead kind of use just the match portion as the local funds, but leverage it with much larger pots. So I'm very proud of the work that the Public Works Department's been doing, because it's not easy to pull together the project proposals, and we've had so many projects in the queue. We haven't been able to really kind of do that next push, and this is the next wave of future funded projects.
Yeah, basically this would be the third phase. The second phase, we applied for the formulaic, forget the name, but there's a second phase, and we already applied for that one as a grant as well. And we should hear from that shortly. I'm not exactly sure when, but pretty soon.
And that one's described in the matrix as the 50% local match. It's the local partnership formulaic program, and it's Legion from Evelyn to Kelly Avenue. So this would, if we were successful with the formulaic application and the STBG project, we basically accomplish all of Legion to western city limits.
Nice.
Yeah, very, very good. And it is, before I open up to just council, my comment is page 158, I think, is very helpful, not just for council, but for the public. It's a great illustration of what we've talked about in the past, of how critical some of these matches can be in really kind of stringing together what could be multiple forms of funding, which really, as you mentioned, maximize our local street improvement dollars. So again, very helpful to see that. And council, if we have any further questions, comments for Mr. Garcia?
My question is, if each of these were funded, the local match, do we have a way to pay for all of the local matches?
What we would do is use balances from, there's a number of funds that we would evaluate, and we think when we put in the proposal, we're pledging that the local match will be available if we're successfully awarded. The likelihood of getting everything awarded as a priority, not likely. So we look at our gas tax funds. We look at our other accumulated LTA-related funds for the half-cent. Separate from the gas tax, that's a half-cent sales tax that's locally provided based on zip code. We could look at things like development impact fees. We do our best to keep it flexible, because given the timing and what might else be going on in the city as a priority, the way we describe that local match, we want to have the ultimate discretion as to which funds it is, so that we're not, because every color of money has requirements attached to it. So we're always trying to match it with the best fit for the definitions. But we are not concerned about, we are in a position to confirm the availability of the local funds for performance of the projects. And because they're in outer years, it gives us the ability to continue to pre-plan and accumulate funds that are received on an annual basis.
And those last two that show zero, well, they show it's blank for federal funds, and the local match is the same amount as the total cost estimate. Are those?
No, that's actually, those are two projects that our council's very well acquainted with. This is the first little leg behind Walmart that will accomplish connectivity between the eastern current termination of Wildcat to the first north-south roadway. And these actually, it's not fully represented here. You're going to have an action item tonight that has the design portion, and in that design staff report, it will state that we have a local match. I believe it's 11.47 also. The local match for that is $7,565. And we are proposing to use development impact fees. So I think what happened in this description, and my apologies for it, this was our total cost estimate that includes soils testing and a number of other items. It didn't properly show the local match.
Okay, that's all it was.
But it is referenced in our staff report on 166 as $7,565.
Okay, thank you for that. Do we have any further questions, concerns? Go ahead.
I think I constantly get requests or people asking me questions about the city, is the city applying for grants? And I think this is clear that we are, and we don't always receive a grant, but many times we are successful. I think this is one avenue where if we can utilize these funds, I think we'll come up with the match in some way, because these funds make quite a bit of difference in producing some quality roadways or improving some quality roadways that we have. So I think it's important that we continue to do this. I think it's a fine job by the engineers and everybody in putting this all together for these grant dollars, because I think it's important that we do that. We have the volunteer park where we get grants for. We have different other areas that we get grants for, such as parks over by Oakley, and we've done a lot of that. So I think people need to be aware that we are receiving this grant money at different times.
Absolutely.
Sam, I have a question for you. Are you applying for grants?
Yeah, I wish I was. I need all the grants I can get, George.
I could use one, yeah. Any further questions, discussion? Seeing none, we'll go ahead and move forward. Do we have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
A motion, we have a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Seeing none, no abstention, motion carries. We'll move to the last regular business item, item F, discussion of potential action to award a professional engineering services agreement to LC Engineering Consultants, Inc., for the design of Wildcat Drive improvements from Western Avenue to South First Street in the amount not to exceed $65,960. Backup material on 166 through 178.
Logan. So, yes, you guys kind of already talked about it. So it's that little leg from Western to First Street, and it's about it's a couple hundred feet really, but it's gonna also require the undergrounding of the IID canal, the best canal there, but that'd be pretty much done as a separate project. But it's just the fact that it's in the right of way of the road. It also needs to happen. So there's a lot of moving parts to this, and this this action item here is just the engineering part. So we're currently working on the request for authorization on the construction, but the design needs to happen first, and it's a very short deadline to get this done.
This will be a high priority item for the department to complete in time and retain use of the funds. As described, the Best Canal, it's not, the undergrounding activity is not an eligible CMAQ funded cost. So different funds will be, local funds will be utilized to address the undergrounding. The undergrounding is an essential part of being able to actually construct Wildcat. It can't be constructed without it.
And I believe that's what that 79,800, those last two items that you asked about, without the local match, I believe those with those, because it says they're IID Best Canal Underground Design. So that the first phase one
gotcha.
is then that's why there's no local match on it, because we have to pay for.
You have to.
For that.
So we pay,
I mean, there is a local. The local match is
we're
the
paying
total.
everything on that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you for that clarification.
So,
Is there already funding lined out for that section of undergrounding?
Our current, we're committed to completion of the work, and we'll be working to utilize development impact fees on hand to accomplish it.
So, yeah, sounds like it.
It's an expensive project.
Yeah, very.
Just for
It
a
is.
short period, short piece of roadway.
All right, I think we've had obviously much previous conversation also in and around the project, but any further questions while we have the topic here? If we don't, I want to move forward and call for the question. All those, do we have a motion first to approve?
Sure, motion.
All right, do we have a second?
I'll second it.
All right, we have a motion, we have a second. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Seeing none.
Thank you.
Motion carries. Thank you very much.
CMAQ grant. If I was a rapper, I'd name myself CMAQ.
It's money. It's worth money.
I think so.
Item 6, informational report A, record of building permits, January 2019, City of Brawley. It's in your packet. If you haven't already looked, take a look. Move to the next item, item 7, which will be city council member reports. And we'll begin with Council Member Hamby.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I had the opportunity to attend the State of the City address out at the airport, and also had the opportunity to do a little video spot for it like all the rest of the council members did. And it was nicely produced, so good job everyone involved in that. And it was a memorable event that you know, was, I guess a little different than others. I've only been to one other State of the City address, so I only have that. It was different than that one, I can tell you that.
Definitely.
And highlighted some of the things that are ongoing and looking into the future. So it's a rosy outlook. Hopefully we can deliver on everything, but I know that people complain about the condition of the streets, and there's going to be a lot of complaining while those streets are being repaired, but it's good to be getting those done this year. I also, right after that State of the City address, ran over to Hidalgo Hall for a short period of time for their officer installation. I didn't get to stay for the whole thing, but got to sit at a table with my fellow council members. And I attended the library board meeting, and it was very informational. Also got to go to the library book sale on Saturday and got a bag of books for $1, and that's a pretty good price if you get some good books. I got to go to the Parks and Recreation committee meeting today, and started out without a quorum, but eventually had one. So it was the meeting was successful after all, and and within Parks and Rec there are some plans in the works that I think are going to be beneficial to the community, and I'm excited to see the tree program moving forward to add some more shade and green and oxygen to our town. And also had an opportunity to speak with a couple of concerned elderly residents, and just some ongoing conversations about sidewalks and accessibility and a senior center volunteer project. So I'm excited for what 2019 holds, and I think Mayor Wharton did a good job of presenting that at the State of the City address. We had some emergency activity that happened during the event that highlighted some of the emergency services that we offer here in Brawley. So although it was tragic, it was neat to see everyone working together in the emergency services realm. So that's it for my report.
Thank you, Councilmember Hamby. Councilmember Couchman.
Okay. Congratulations on your mayor's address. It was really nice, except for the cold. It was a little chilly, but other than that, I thought it all went
Kept you awake?
Yes, it did that. All right, yes. I used the candle to heat my hands, so it was good. I went to the Hidalgo installation of officers after that. That was a great event. I did attend the Friends of the Library book sale. As their best customer in town, I felt the need to attend, even though I had to go out of town that day. I went at 9 a.m., ran through all the books, got everything before everybody else did, and then I got out of town. So I did that. So I got the Friends of the Library book sale. I attended the North County Coalition for the Arts meeting the other day, and we did discuss a new play that's coming up, The Newsies, I think is what it's called, and so they're working on that, and I think they're doing rehearsals right now, or they're doing some practice anyway.
They're doing rehearsals.
Rehearsals, I think. And then I attended the Rotary Four-Way Speech Contest, which I'm a member of the local Rotary, and they had locals from Calipatria, local seniors and freshmen also from Calipatria and BUHS that were there that competed in the Rotary Four-Way Speech Contest. That was a great thing, and you see a lot of the young people there. I attended the Chamber Mixer at the Boys and Girls Club with some of my fellow council members. I did attend an IID meeting today, just to see what was going on over there, and they were doing some things at the IID related to connections and renewable energy. They also did a little report on the water situation. It doesn't look bad this year. It looks actually pretty good. So they did have a report on that. I attended the NRA banquet on Friday. I attended a county board meeting last week, I believe. And then today I had the pleasure of attending the awards ceremony for freshmen at Brawley Union High School. And I think we should all be pleased to note that we had over 80-plus freshmen that were 3.0 to 3.5, and we had about 120 or 30 that, somewhere around 100 and something, that were 3.5 and above. And they all received certain awards there and recognition at that ceremony. Very pleased to attend. My grandson was one of the awardees, and Miguel's daughter was one of the awardees. And so it was a really nice event, and really appreciate that on behalf of Brawley Union High School, and we should be proud of our young people. And so, and with that, just to say thank you to all the city staff. I see you guys out there every day doing the job, getting the job done, and my water's still running, and wastewater's still working, and the roads, I'm still traveling the roads. And so everything's good. The library's working fine, and parks are looking good. So with that, I thank you, and that's my report.
Is your refrigerator running?
Yes. Yes, it is.
And you're a good wastewater producer too.
Yes,
so
I know. Yes, I produce more than my share.
Thank you, Councilmember Couchman. Councilmember Nava.
The three houses.
No, I echo your comments, Councilmember Couchman, with respect to young minds and academic success. I think that's really important. I don't think we focus in on that enough. And so, you have students that you get to see develop, and they're out at universities or improving their situation. I think that's great. We need to recognize that as a city. That's the future of the community. Even if they don't end up living here for the rest of their lives, they're still part of Brawley. And so, their family ties are here and other things. So we need to recognize it as often as possible. So I think that's great. I'm glad that you mentioned that. So again, thank you to the rest of council for humoring me and having this item on here. Just recognizing the team and their coaches. I think they've done a great job. And again, it's just something that I'm not just personally proud of. I think I've had an opportunity to meet these kids, and they interviewed me for part of their project. And I'll tell you, I was impressed with many of them in that, some required notes, and you can tell the different kids and the different academic levels. I mean, because I probably interviewed with 30 kids. And so, it's just, there's some that require, strict notes, and they're going off that, but some that you can flow with them and have a conversation. It's just really impressive, and one of them was here tonight. So it's just an impressive group of kids, and I'm proud of them, and I'm hoping that they succeed. But also want to congratulate our mayor and the rest of council, of course, but great job on the mayor's presentation. It was a little chilly. I went to shake Councilmember Couchman's hand, and he was like, a little frozen, but it was a little frostbite, But no, it was cold though. It really was. I brought some lettuce with me, and it actually, was, got even colder. But yeah, right. Yeah. No, congratulations, great job, and I think people enjoyed it. So,
thank you very much.
Thank you.
Councilmember Nava, I really appreciate that. Appreciate all of council's comments. Mayor Pro Tem.
Well, I attended the State of the City address also, and I think, Donnie, you did a great job. Our mayor did a great job. And George, thank you also, because I know you had a big part in putting that presentation together, and of course the rest of us that put our few cents in, but I think we all managed to get our feelings across and what our goals are for 2019. And I think all of us are really looking forward to this year and accomplishing a lot of things. So it was great. I got a lot of real positive comments from the people that attended. They were all, and none of them complained about the cold to me, so I think they were all pretty
just
good
my fellow
about
council
it.
members?
I get cold easy.
Yeah, me too.
So you did a great job. You did a great job.
Thank you.
And then after that, we did make it over to the installation of officers also. That was also a very nice program. I think they knew that people were going from one event to the other, so it was nice that they kept it kind of succinct and kept it moving. And so none of us stayed for the dance, I don't think, but the program itself was really good.
I stayed for the program.
And then other than that, I met with a business manager of one of the businesses here that wanted to talk to me a little bit about some concerns regarding some city things, and so I share those concerns with Rosanna. Nothing serious, just a few questions about primarily staffing, and because they hear, some things, but anyway, mostly positive. I did reach out to our SBDC staff also to assist a prospective business owner that's wanting to open a business in downtown Brawley. So I'm hoping that they made a connection. If not, I'm going to follow up on that. Let's see. And even though we're getting trees from through that other grant, there is still a potential that we may get some trees from a nonprofit out of Riverside County. So I think it's good. I mean, whatever trees we can get. She was trying to get about 150 trees, so we're still working on that. And I also wanted to thank the staff and everybody that worked on that volunteer parking lot. I did go by there, and it's absolutely outstanding. It's beautiful. I hate to say it's a parking lot, but it's beautiful.
It's a parking lot.
It's really very nice, and we used to park in the dirt lot there when we saw the game,
Oh,
so
yeah.
now we'll be able to use that parking lot. So very nice. And that's about it. Thank you.
Very good. Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem Howdigi, and I really appreciate not only the support of my fellow council members on the state of the city. I do want to kind of throw it right back on not only them, George singling you out for an outstanding presentation, really made, I think, the information appealing, to the crowd and those who saw it. So he put a lot of work into it at a very busy time. So again, just truly appreciative. I think that was on really behalf of the city and something to be able to do. I think his price maybe just went up, maybe potentially for next year. So I don't know what that negotiation is going to look like. But
there's a lot of work, but it was fun. I mean, you really get to see the presentation, you get to see the work that's being completed, and then we even actually went out and took some pictures and it was a lot of work, a lot of time commitment, but it was fun, and you get to see how things are progressing over the years. So I enjoyed it, and I'm glad it all worked out because it was up to the day of, and it was a few hours before.
Final cut was a few hours before.
Yeah.
So, but with that, all great things. I think the theme there, including the video, is what really the public needed to know, and that's that all of these things happen because there's multiple folks that come together, and there is a teamwork theme behind it, regardless of what discussion or disagreements there may be. And I thought it was part and parcel of how we've been successful as a council. So again, I truly appreciate it. I don't want to belabor it, but I thank my fellow council members, staff, and everyone that made that possible.
Mr. Mayor, I just wanted to also acknowledge and thank our Brawley Chamber for all their hard work and working with us and putting all that together. I think they did an outstanding job. And also our staff. I saw Rosanna out there doing quite a bit of work, and some of our other staff. So.
That's why I opened my comment with, if this is a disaster, it's on me. So I took it off of them. Fortunately, it worked out well. So, by the way, that was on me. That was my idea, to move it out there. But it was no small feat, but really, really glad to see that, obviously, that it was enjoyed by many. Great turnout. I mean, I will say I was really happy to see that we had very good participation, not just from the city, but really valley-wide. So. Hidalgo Installation of Officers, again, appreciative to their board for accommodating, and we really made the two events work, and I was able to attend that because of that. There's continued work. I'm participating in the 5150 Ad Hoc Committee. I'm not 5150 yet, but I think it's off to a great start. And as I bring up some updates as we're moving forward, what is occurring right now with that I think is pretty important is an actual stakeholders group, which are all of the agencies and those obviously most affected by this particular, really the entire process and all the services available coming together, looking for improved service delivery and hopefully some solutions that will be lasting in Imperial County. So it's a very worthy endeavor led by, of course, the county. But again, appreciative that I'm actually playing a role in that and helping to put those stakeholders together. I did an interview, and I didn't get to see it. I don't know if any of my council members or staff did, but I did do an interview with Roy Durantes specifically on the ambulance service. I know there's been press releases and information, but I was asked for comments on behalf of Brawley, and just rest assured that work was occurring between their appropriate agencies and departments. And obviously, as we're hearing more to come on that's affecting things valley-wide. But I've received very good assurance that those services will continue as expected, and I think that's the most important thing. So I just want to make sure that was echoed in case people didn't catch that interview. I toured Witter School. It's the second time I've done this, and the last time I happened to do it was my last kind of shot at mayor. Just loved that tour. It was an invitation by the administration as well as some board members, and there's a group of about 5 of us, including the superintendent. We hit about, I think, 8 to 10 classrooms as they were in progress. So It was amazing at how kids can ignore you when you come in as a gaggle of 5 grown-ups, supposedly, and stay focused on what they're doing. So that was impressive, but I learned quite a bit on how much special resources, attentions, educators and paraeducators are involved with those who need those services and help, and I think there's a little emphasis on that in this. And I certainly walked away. It's hard not to go to tour any school, and I know that all of my council members are very active in all levels of our schools here, but you always walk away pretty encouraged, including, the final product of what we see tonight. But again, that was just a wonderful thing, and I'm hoping that the rest of our council members continue to get those invitations and an opportunity to do that. One last thing, congratulations. I think Councilmember Nava was in the paper for his professional services, getting a little highlight. So I think that was well done and certainly neat to see. And then one last thing I do want to throw in. I want to thank the Desert Review for the State of the City coverage, as well as others. I don't know if it's good or bad, but I appreciate it from the Desert Review that when I land on the front page, it's always someone, positive, but great coverage, and I appreciate that coverage, that local. So, no, you provide a lot of detail and quotes from the speech, and I do get comments as that gets disseminated to the world for those that wasn't able to attend. So thank you, Desert Review. Those are my comments. Thank you to my fellow council members for yours, and we'll move forward with our city manager's report.
Just have one brief item for open session tonight, and that is to let you know, this coming Friday, February 22nd at 4 p.m., the Brawley Elementary School District Board of Trustees would like to invite the council to attend their 2nd annual parent fair. I received an invitation from Superintendent Silva, specifically requesting that city officials consider making an appearance at the event and circulating among attendees. So,
what is the date again?
It is this Friday, February 22nd at 4 p.m., and it'll be held at the Barbara Worth Junior High School gym.
Yeah. Very good. Thank you very much for that report and an announcement. Item 9, City Attorney's report.
It's not really a legal matter, but Calipatria will kick off its centennial celebration next Friday, March 1st. So it's going to be 100 years old next Friday.
Our younger brother, still young. Yeah. Super. Thank you. City Clerk's report.
Nothing to report.
All right. We'll take a brief break. We're moving to closed session. Thank you, everyone, for attending, and we will see you next time.